When I tell you I've been wanting to film my February wrap up for like 28 days, like literally just for so long, I am so excited to talk about these books for like a multitude of reasons. For one, very interesting, the things that I have been reading. And two, I've been reading from some authors that I used to very much enjoy, and now I don't. So, anyways, I do want to get into that. First, a little bit of statistics, if you will. Okay, so according to I'm going to get all my statistics out of my reading journal. However, I am not going to show you my reading journal because there will be another video, because in the other video, I'm going to go through the reading journal flip through, and this, I just want to talk about the books. I don't really want to talk about the reading journal here. And I feel like if I show you the reading journal, I have to talk about the reading journal. So we're just going to focus on the books. Okay, so I read 6 books in the month of February. My total page count was 2,278 pages, which is very exciting. I read every single day in February, which is also very exciting. My average rating, like star rating for books, was 2.5 stars. We had a lot of 2 stars, unfortunately, this time around. But my format of choice was physical. I did read one audiobook, though. Not audiobook, ebook. What am I doing? I read 1 ebook and then 5 physical books. And then for my 2026 goals update, I did finish 2 out of 3 series. So one of the books that I read in the month of February completed a series for me. I still haven't bought any books, which is great. My phone time is still very, very bad. So yeah. Obviously, I haven't cleared the cart. It's only month 2. Like, calm down. I've read 2 out of 7 classics, so that's cool. 1 out of 12 nonfiction. So far, no Christian books. And I've read 15 books total from my reading goal of 35. And I uploaded 6 out of 8 times. So that's pretty exciting. And now let us get into these books. I'm going to just start off, like, I'm just going to go down, like, I'm just going to pick them up and show you, because should I just do the right order? Okay, yeah, we'll do the right order. Okay, the first book that I read and finished in the month of February was Hellbent. I'm so sorry. There is like, the sun is like right here. And hold on, let me see if I can fix this. There we go. Okay, that's a lot better lighting. Okay, fantastic. So the first book that I read in the month of February was Hellbent. This is the second book in the 9th House series by Leigh Bardugo, and I gave it 2 stars. It was weird. Everything about this was weird. I did not like 9th House, but compared to this one, 9th House was a masterpiece. This, I don't know what was going on. I can't really tell you too much because, again, it goes into book 2, but what I can tell you is that Dante's Inferno, more like Legally Blonde Dante's Inferno. Like, I'm not sure what was going on. It was weird. It was very weird. Also, I'm having so many issues with the characters. Now, I did learn from a friend of mine, that there is going to be a book 3. There was a girl in the Discord server that I have. You guys are more than welcome to join the Discord server. Please join the Discord server. It's hilarious in there. But there was a girl in there that was like, she saw that I was reading this, and she was like, there's a book 3 coming out. And I was like, I will pass. I'm just going to stop here. I'm going to stop while I don't own any more of this series. And I'm just going to pass up on the 3rd book. I told her if she reads it, just spoil that for me, because I have no intentions of continuing this. The characters, I have such problems with these characters because they are so comedic when they're not supposed to be. Like, I really struggle with our heroine. She is just, what's her name? Alex? It is Alex, but it's, Galaxy. That's right. I have such issues with this girl because what do you mean you're super awesome and powerful, but also just so fragile. Just the most, just so fragile. I don't understand. You cannot be both. You either have to be the best or you can be mediocre, but you cannot be both. And that's just been very frustrating. So anyways, and then the plot twist that happens in here, I kind of wanted to be like, so he really just said, let's do book 1 again. I don't understand. So anyways, that was this one. Good times. Anyways, book number 1. The second book that I read was a lot better. I read Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. When I tell you I'm so excited that I finally got to read this, I actually read this for a different book club that I am in. It is not my personal book club, which is in the Discord server. This is a different book club. And it was so fun. I had a good time reading this. I did end up giving it 3 stars, not for like anything malicious by any means, just because it was cute. Like, it was cute. It was sweet. This is very clearly not intended for us as an audience, though. Like, one of the people in the book club was like, this is actually a love story for his wife. Like, this was a story that he made up for his wife. This was not supposed to be a book. And I feel like that's pretty much, yeah, that makes sense, because just the way it's written. I've never read a Brandon Sanderson book. And a lot of people told me that this is kind of like not the one you want to start with. Unfortunately, I did. And unfortunately, it turned me off from Brandon Sanderson. I don't know. This is not the writing style that I'm interested in. I did like Trust, though. I think she, as a main character, was a lot better than, say, Alex from Hellbent. Like, this girl, it made sense. She was kooky. She was kind of crazy. She was, talked a lot about her hair. But, she was cute and I liked it. And I also really enjoyed the fact that she had these like very strange habits that ended up mattering towards the end of it. So I thought this was good, though. If you're not familiar with Trust of the Emerald Seas, it is about this girl and she falls in love with this guy and then he gets sent off. Like, his dad is important in some manner, and he's like, I'm gonna go get my son married, and his son is in love with Trust, and he tells her, I'm gonna be so boring that no one will marry me. Like, don't worry, I'm coming back to you. And so she goes, well, how will I know? And then he says, you'll know because I'm gonna send you a cup. Like, I'm going to send you this cup and you'll know that I did not get married by every cup that I send you. So that's what they do. And she keeps getting these cups in the mail until one day she doesn't get a cup in the mail. And she's like, what is going on? And then his dad comes back and says, yes, my son tragically died. And so I've adopted my nephew, who's a much better son, in my opinion. And he's going to marry this princess. So Tress is like, I'm sorry, what? And then come to find out, the son is not actually dead. He's just been captured by this evil witch. And so Tress goes into the Emerald Sea to go and rescue her lover. And yeah, that's the whole story. That's the whole journey that they go on. It's very cute. I think there were a lot of plot twists that I was like, oh, that's nice. And it wasn't anything like dramatic or anything like that. It was a cute story. I think this would be nice for like young girls to read, to be honest with you. Like, I think they might enjoy this kind of a story. It is very Princess Diaries. It's very funny and quirky. And yeah, again, it's cute. It's very cute. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. This is the only book I gave 4 stars this month. It is the highest rated book. Everything else is 2 stars. Okay. After this, it's all 2 stars. So I read Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I love this book. I love Emily Bronte. I read this because my friend was reading it for the first time and she wanted to read it before she went and saw the movie, and then promptly told me, do not watch the movie. She was like, I know you. Don't watch this movie. Like, don't even pretend to go watch this movie. Don't do that. So, but we read it together and I just love Emily Bronte and I love this story and I love these characters. This, however, is not a love story. This is a story on classism, on racism, on what happens when society creates this monster. Do we share responsibility for this monster? It is about generational trauma that just keeps getting passed down. And what does it mean for you to break that cycle? What does it mean for you to decide to not be like your parents or your guardians in this case? And I just love it. I love this book. I love this story. If you have not read Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, you definitely should. I gave it 4 stars. It is about these characters, Kathy and Heathcliff. They want to be together. However, Heathcliff is not white, and that is stressed beyond belief, okay? It is so important that Heathcliff is not a white guy. He doesn't come from any wealthy means. And so her dad's like, no, it's not happening. And then her dad dies and her brother takes over, and he even more so is like, this isn't happening. And then she marries this other guy. Now, Heathcliff went away. He comes back. He's made a servant, mind you. Like, it's just like there's so much classism. There's so much racism in this. They treat him like a servant. They won't teach him. They won't do anything other than demand he do servant stuff. So he goes off. He comes back. He doesn't just come back wealthy. He comes back so wealthy that he's taken care of house. And he just is so angry with the world, with the hand that he was dealt. He's just such an angry, angry man. And he does absolutely horrible things. And I'm talking irredeemable things that involve pets, things that involve pregnant women, things that involve children, things that are so reprehensible. You cannot root for this man, but you understand at the same time, you're like, I get why you're doing these things. It still does not excuse your behavior. You are still an evil person, okay? They fail. Kathy and Heathcliff, they fail. Kathy is very dramatic. She is no innocent in this, okay? She's very manipulative. She strings people along. She is just not a good person either, okay? Heathcliff is like the physical embodiment of not a good person, whereas Kathy is the emotional and mental embodiment of somebody who's not a good person, okay? So those are like, and then they keep saying like they are soulmates. She says, I am Heathcliff. And so in saying those things, they are basically saying we together are the ultimate not a good person, okay? Like they truly are just the different entities of what it makes to not be a good person. So anyways, this book follows that storyline. It follows what does it mean to be made like this and what happens when society creates these things. What happens when you have this spoiled, rotten girl and this man who just like want to be together but are not allowed to be together? What happens when revenge is being taken? Apparently you kidnap people. That's Wuthering Heights. Why did I give this 4 stars? Because it's raw. It's so raw. It's so well written. And these are characters that you will never see them ever again. You will never see another Heathcliff for the rest of the written word because you can't write another Heathcliff. People will not accept that. And this is just something that Emily Bronte is probably one of the few and the last to be able to write a character that you just are not able to redeem or root for. You just can't. Even though you know, like his upbringing was horrible, you just can't excuse the things he did. And I just think it's just some genius, like some genius level. I just really appreciate that. Anyways, I really did like Wuthering Heights. I know I just went on and on about how these are horrible, horrible characters, but trust me, like it's just so well laid out. And so, yeah, anyways, Wuthering Heights, Emily Bronte, so good. I loved it. I was just so happy with this. Anyways, moving on. The fourth book that I read. I finished The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, finally. And I was not pleased with this. I just felt like there were so many missed opportunities in this book. Let me start from the beginning. This book is about this girl, Addie LaRue, and she makes a deal with, he's not even the devil. He's just the dark. Like he even says, he's like, I'm worse than the devil. I'm the dark. I have always been. And he just, I mean, honestly, the deal that gets made, I'm so confused as to why he made this deal in the first place. She's like, my paper's coming out. She's like, I want to be able to be free. I want to do my own thing. I want to live my own way. And I don't want anyone to restrain me. So he goes, amazing. I'm going to make you eternal. Until you don't want to be living for the rest of your life anymore. I'm going to make you eternal though. And in that process, I'm also going to make it so that if anybody looks at you, they will forget you. And as soon as like they turn their head, as soon as you leave the room, they're not going to know who you are. I don't know how to explain this. I just felt like it was right there. The puzzle pieces were here. There's a part in the middle of this book where Addie is talking to the dark and she's saying like, hey, we're similar. We're alike. And he's like, we have nothing in common. Absolutely nothing. I don't know what you're talking about, you young little naive girl. I have no idea what you're saying right now. You're not even speaking English. And there's a scene where, I don't want to give too much away, but the dark does something and Addie cowers. Okay? There's a scene in the book and I'll just say it's the Beethoven scene. Okay? So if you know the Beethoven scene, if you've read this book before, the Beethoven scene, the dark does something and Addie cowers. And I feel as though that was a pivotal point in the storyline because up until then, we are hearing Addie say, I and the dark are the same. We are alike. We have a lot in common. Everything that we do is very much in common. We are very similar. Everything we do is similar. And we've heard it numerous times throughout the book, okay? I feel like that scene in particular, instead of her cowering and turning around and running away, instead of that happening, I think instead, what would have shown the audience, hey, they are very similar. Because another thing is that the dark is saying, you are not human anymore. You have lost what it means to be human. You don't have that anymore. I think it would have been very good and a very different story and a much better story, mind you, if instead of cowering, she looked at him intrigued. Okay, if she had shown just an inch of curiosity in that moment and was like, oh, this is interesting. What is that? Because she is going on and on about how they are the same. And he is saying, you are no longer human. It would have been nice for her to look and see, is that what it means to be human? Do I not have that anymore? And if it was very confusing at the time, that would have been fine. She could go into a spiral of, oh my gosh, why was I intrigued? You know, she could have a little bit of a mental breakdown. That's fine. But I feel as though it would have been in the interest of the character for her to show some curiosity and not cower, because that scene made it very clear she and the dark are not the same. I don't know what you're going on about. It doesn't make any sense. You guys are not the same. You are not the same person. You are not the same thing. She has not lost her humanity. She is still human. Like, it just was very clear because of her cowering and leaving, because that is a very human thing to do. So anyways, that was the fourth book that I read. I gave it 2 stars, guys, but I did read it and I got it off my TBR and it's been on there for a very long time. So I kind of was excited that I was able to move forward from that book. I think it's been on my TBR for like possibly 5 years because this is a first edition of the book. So I think it's been on there for 5 years. It came out in 2020. So yeah, I'm glad that we got it off. I'm just so glad. The fifth book that I read actually was the ebook one. I don't have it. I rented it from the library, but it is called Artemis, and it was by Andy Weir, the same guy who wrote Project Hail Mary, The Martian. I read Project Hail Mary in December of last year, and so I read Artemis this year, and it's a very short book, guys. It's like 250 pages. It's not long at all. And yeah, I gave it 2 stars. So let me explain. Okay, so first of all, the book didn't make any sense, and it was boring, and the plot was so weak. And on top of that, it was a man writing a girl, and I'm pretty positive. So a lot of people said that if you listened to the audiobook, because it's narrated by a woman, you can tell that the main character is a person. I did not realize our main character was a girl. I thought it was a boy. I did not realize it was a girl until she's putting on a dress. And I was like, wait. What's going on? And she's putting on a dress to do a disguise. And I was like, wait, what's happening? What's happening here? Like, why are we wearing it? Why is he putting on a dress? And I was so genuinely confused that I was talking to some other people who also have read it and were reading. And they were like, this is a girl. And I was like, no, this is not a girl. This is definitely a guy. It walks like a guy, it talks like a guy, it thinks like a guy, it's a guy, okay? Like every action that they do is very masculine. There is no femininity in it at all. So I was very, very much confused because in order for this character to be a female, she is not a girl's girl. Like she cannot be a girl's girl. And it was just not cool. It was just not cool. Also, I'm so excited because that character could do math. They made you so sure that they could do math. They gave you so many examples of them doing math. Just fast math in their head. Math. Oh, there's the answer. It was so good. That was their whole personality was mansplaining and math. So that's fun. And yeah, I don't really have much to say about this book. It was a space book. She lives on the moon and the mafia kind of tries to take over. So she has to take them out. And why did the mafia take over? Great question. Aluminum, the aluminum industry. It's how they clean their money or something like that. How they launder money. They have oxygen and aluminum, and this other guy is like, oh, I'm going to take them out by buying up oxygen, and then I'll have the oxygen, and the moon will have to come to me for their oxygen. You know what? If it doesn't make any sense to you, that's fine, because it didn't make sense in the book either. And anyways, so the last book that I read, that is the whole thing. The last book that I read was Rebel Witch. Now this, wait a second. Oh, yeah. This is the second, yeah. This was the second book. This is a duology. The first book was The Heartless Hunter, and this is book 2, The Rebel Witch. And yeah, I can't really talk too much about this because again, this is book 2. But I gave it 2 stars. I was not impressed. I just seriously was not impressed. It was kind of annoying. It was just very back and forth. Like, I'm going to get captured and then you're going to get captured and then I'll get captured again and then you'll get captured and then I'll get captured again and then you'll get captured and then I'll get captured and then you get captured. And that was the entire book. The whole book was, I'm going to get captured and then you're going to get captured. That was it. That was the whole thing. And I'm so confused because I felt like book 1, while book 1 was not the best book that I had read, it was definitely not a favorite. I think I gave it 3 stars. I don't remember it being this. I just feel like this was so repetitive. I feel like we didn't know what we were doing with the storyline. I felt like we had no clue what was actually happening. And I really struggled to get through this one. I'm going to be honest. I really struggled to get through this one. I almost felt like I was going to have to DNF at points. And yeah, I snuck it in there though, did finish it. And am I pleased that I finished it? Not really. I kind of wish that this one I had just decided to say goodbye to, but I felt like because it was the ending, I just wanted to know, like, how do they live happily ever after? Like, tell me how that happens. And I wish I had just skipped to the last 5 chapters and called it good, because this was not, it wasn't, I don't know. I just wasn't, yeah. That was it. Actually, that's all the 6 books that I read in the month of February. I'm so excited. I didn't get to all the books that I wanted to get to. For instance, I'm still in the middle of reading The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, because that was our book club pick for February, and we haven't had our February book club meeting yet to talk about the book, to finish the book off. So I'm still finishing that up. But for March, I'm very excited because our March book of the club, that didn't make any sense. Our March book of the month for our book club is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. One day I will learn English. That day is not today. But yeah, I'm excited because we're going to read that. And yeah, if you want to join, if you want to read it with us, please join the Discord server. It is always linked down below. I think I said it like 8 times in this one video. I'm just very proud of it. I have so much fun in the Discord server. It's really fun. I like Discord. I like being able to talk about books with people, and I like knowing what people are reading. So yeah. Anyways, so for March, I do have a lot of video ideas, which I'm very excited about. And I'm hoping that I get in all of that, just all of the stuff that I want to get in. I hope I get in all of it. And yeah, I think that's it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all the YouTube stuff. That makes them very happy. I think I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye, guys.